YouTube? Of course, welcome to a brand new episode of Cinematic Discussions. Of course, I'm your host, Anthony Long, and I know, it's been a very, very long while since you guys have seen me. It's been I think about 5-6 months since I've done a new episode for Cinematic Discussions. Of course, I'm not gonna really get into why I've been gone or anything like that, but I just want to say that I'm very happy to be back and that I'm going to be working extremely harder to be bringing newer episodes and even talk about some even more interesting topics regarding movies and television. Now, before I begin with the episode, I do want to say something really quickly though, and that is to say thank you to everyone who has been watching my videos, giving me positive feedback on it. It's been really, really grateful, and I really do appreciate it, guys. So thank you once again. And like I said, because of that, I'm gonna be making sure that I'm more up to date on bringing new episodes. That way, you guys can watch them and comment on them, and and that's I guess that's really all I gotta say. Of course, I'm doing this episode by myself because my co-hosts, John and Alicia, they're not here with me. It's been kind of crazy with the whole COVID-19 thing, but of course, a lot of the stay-at-home orders have been lifted, so hopefully I'll be able to get in touch with them and actually get them involved in future episodes as well, so there'll definitely be that. Now, for this episode, I want to talk about one particular movie, and this movie's been pushed back one too many times, and a lot of people are actually kind of amazed that they've actually came out and said, oh no, this movie's finally getting released in theaters and everything like that, so don't worry. But I think at this point nobody really cares anymore. But the movie I am talking about is, of course, The New Mutants. Now, I don't know if anyone has heard of this movie, and if not, I'll kind of bring you up to speed. So before the whole Disney acquisition of 20th Century Fox, Fox had originally planned on doing this movie called The New Mutants, which is supposed to be set in the X-Men universe, but they were kind of branching it out and wanting it to be its own thing as well. I know the director, Josh Boone, has said he originally intended this to be the first of a different trilogy, and of course 20th Century Fox were saying that it was going to be their very first superhero horror film. Something that had not been done before, according to them, which I would say would be kind of a lie, because I think if you look at some of the earlier superhero films that came out, a lot of them kind of dabbed in with the horror genre. I think the Blade films, if anything, kind of delved more into horror, if you ask me, but that's just my opinion. It just came out recently that Disney, who now owns the film, who now owns all of 20th Century Fox, they have now just come out and said that the film is going to be released on August 20th, or is that right? Hold on a minute. So it's just been confirmed by Disney, who now owns the film, along with owning all of 20th Century Fox, that the brand new official release date is now going to be August 28th, 2020. Or so it seems, unless they decide to push it back again. Now, I'm actually kind of surprised they actually managed to find an actual release date for the film, because, like I said, this movie's been pushed back so many different times that it's kind of been a running joke in a lot of in the movie community, especially the superhero community, that basically this is a film that we're never ever going to see. And of course, many people have asked, well, why don't you guys just go ahead and just dump it on streaming, and what's the whole point of even releasing it in the theater, by the way? And I wondered into that too. But before I jump into how I feel about the whole thing, I'll go ahead and I'll kind of give you some history on this film and the crazy delays that it's had. So from July to September of 2017, of course, that's when the production began on The New Mutants, and September was when they wrapped up filming. And it wasn't until in October that they fully released the very first trailer of the film. And 20th Century Fox announced that this was going to be the first superhero horror film, claiming that it's one of a kind, that it's nothing that we've never seen before, especially from the X-Men. When the first trailer came out, it had an initial release date of Friday, April 13th, 2018. 2018. Now, looking back on that was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, since this movie was filmed and announced when it was going to be coming out. The very first delay this film got was going to be in February, and I think sometime in 2019, because they said they wanted to do some reshoots after the very first test screening audience. The way they put it, they said the first test screening went okay, but not good enough. So they wanted to go ahead and do some reshoots and make the film more scarier. And it also has to do with the fact that Deadpool 2 was coming out a month later, and I guess they wanted to avoid competition with that. And just as they were about ready to do the reshoots and everything, it got announced that Disney was in the process of acquiring all of 20th Century Fox's shows, movies, basically the whole damn studio. And then because of that, the plans to do the reshoots halted. And then it got delayed again to later in 2019. Now that Disney owns the film, they're like, okay, now we're gonna go ahead and release the film at a later date, sometime like early 2020. But the way they said it, though, it really didn't seem like they had a whole lot of confidence in this film, or they just wanted to go ahead and just release it and just get it done and over with. But unfortunately, the craziness known as COVID-19 halted that. It basically shut everything down, and I know not only just Disney, but I think all of Hollywood, they had to reschedule a lot of the upcoming films that were coming out, or they even had to postpone production on some of their more future projects. And then of course it just became a running joke. Like I said, a running joke of when the movie was going to be coming out, or is this movie going to be coming out, or why won't they release it on streaming, or why do people even care about this movie? Now that a lot of the restrictions from COVID-19 are being lifted, a lot of people are actually getting out and going back to work and actually getting to live their lives again. Disney was like, okay, since movie theaters are going to be opening back up pretty soon, we're going to go ahead and release it for late summer, August 28th, 2020. I guess at this point, and it's not just my opinion, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of the opinion of a lot of people too. At this point, does anyone really care anymore about this film? I mean, I know they released a brand new trailer, and the trailer did show a lot more flashier effects and some more action sequences, and you actually got to see the characters showing their powers and, kind of showing who they are. But when you have this many delays, a lot of people have kind of just lost interest. I mean, in the beginning, you had to ask who was very interested in the first place, and I know there were a lot of people who were pretty interested in it when the first trailer came out. I know I was, because I was kind of intrigued by the premise. But when you have, like I said, when you have this many delays, people tend to lose interest over it over time. Or over time. I'm sorry. I kind of got my words all jumbled up. And I guess now it's not the question of when the movie's going to be coming out, because they're pretty dead set on releasing it on that date. But now it's all a question of how is the movie going to perform at the box office. Basically, from everything that I've read about this film, honestly, I don't think it's going to make bank. If anything, I think the movie is just going to end up flopping. And I know even writer-director Josh Boone, he's commented saying that he couldn't really do a lot of work on it because of the Disney acquisitions and all this craziness that was going on. So he basically kind of just forgot about it and moved on to another project. And I think, because I was reading an article saying that he was getting ready to work on a new reimagining of Stephen King's The Stand, which I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, but that's a different article for another time. And I know he commented when Disney asked him to come back and work on the film, I know that he said that it was like over a year before they last worked on it. So, and I think what they just did was they just polished a lot of the editing and polished a lot of the visual effects. And the reshoots they couldn't do because I think it makes sense, because you got to think the initial shooting lasted from July to September of 2017. So a lot of the actors, they've kind of grown up, basically. Like Macy Williams, for example. Like if you look at Macy Williams in the very first trailer, and if you look at her in the very last season of Game of Thrones, you can clearly see how much she's grown. And going back to do some of those reshoots would have been a pain in the ass. And the only way they could have achieved it was spending extra money on the de-aging process, which they could have done, but at this point they didn't really want to bother spending any more money on it. They felt like, let's just go ahead and just get this released and just get it out of our hair, because like I said, it sounds like Disney has absolutely no confidence in the movie whatsoever. So, like I said, the question does remain, will the New Mutants still be released on August 28th? Is it going to get delayed again? Will the film even do really well at the box office? At this point, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to get released, but I don't know. I strongly believe that the movie is going to end up just being a complete box office bomb. It's not going to make any money back, and of course, they'll probably just use this as a write-off, and then once the movie bombs, most likely they're going to reboot these characters anyway as being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But hey, I could be wrong, I could be right, but I guess only time will tell. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Like I said, I'm very, very grateful to be back again making new videos, and thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it, and be sure to look out for newer episodes in the near future. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, if you want to see the previous episode, just click the link annotation down in the description below. And there's also going to be a link to another superhero-related episode as well. So, once again, thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.